I'm Janice Edwards. Coming up on Signature Silicon Valley, we are on location at the San Jose Jazz Festival. I've been emceeing from the main stage today. We'll have a little bit of that, plus the Spirit of 45 celebration, and continuing our conversations with the Silicon Valley Community Foundation CEO, Dr. Emmett Carson, and Gary Kremen, Match.com and Clean Power Finance founder. That's all coming up next on Signature Silicon Valley. Join us. Welcome back y bienvenido. My name is Janice Edwards. I'm the host and executive producer of Signature Silicon Valley and Bay Area Vista, so you can see me on Create TV and Ion TV. But I am excited to see you here. How many are having a great time? Are you ready? Please welcome, give a warm San Jose Jazz Festival welcome to Conjunto Chaputín y sus estrellas. How has this week been for you? You've been here for Jazz Week, now you're looking forward to the Jazz Festival. What are the highlights for you?
Well, for the meeting, the Jazz Conference itself, it was just a lot of information given. People are dealing with what the future is for jazz radio. There's been so many technological changes. How are we going to deal with the digital age and the coming of digital media, and how we're going to deal with those kinds of things? So those are some of the questions that were important for me as a radio announcer.
And Ray, for you, what are the highlights?
Well, one of the big highlights for me is meeting some of my heroes on the jazz world, like Eric Jackson himself. I remember listening to him in the dorm rooms back in college, Eric in the evening. But primarily the big thing for me is having a chance to learn the other end of the jazz business, being an emerging jazz artist.
San Jose, San Jose. Let's say, what's the name of this town? San Jose, San Jose. Who blast his mother down? Let's say, tonight we will unite with all the power of human race. We will unite. Sound well, you ready? Tonight, no tugging and pulling over that lane up. We need everybody out the center, please. Everybody out the center. Everybody. Thank you. Come on, hold it up, y'all. Hold it up. Make it real easy. He wants to come down and touch as many people as he can. All he want to do is reach out and touch somebody.
Melton, what does it mean for you to be performing here tonight?
Oh, yeah. First of all, let me say that whenever I'm performing, it's a big thrill. I've been doing this as my living since 1972, so whenever I walk on stage, it's an absolutely huge thrill. However, tonight, being home, being in the Bay Area, extra special. We just walking on behind Bootsy. The crowd is all warmed up. I'm ready to go.
like to come each year because the lineup is so good. I think they do an awesome job.
The world famous Rick and Russ show is here at the San Jose Jazz Festival. CJ Flash and Russell Gatewood are talking with me. I'm excited. They make us dance, and we rarely hear you speak though. So tell me, how is it being here at the festival for you?
It's fantastic. We're having a blast. We're up next, so we're going to turn this into a house party. How about that?
I like that.
I'm having so much fun. It's music, San Jose weather, can't beat it. I get to play music, I get to hang out with you too, Janice.
I know, we've been having fun today. How did you two start working together?
Oh, wow. Oh, it's a long story. Well, I met him at childbirth. And we were playing on rocks and stuff and beating on pans and that kind of thing. That's how we came about.
Yeah, tiny tots. Yeah, your little play school turntables, that's how we started. You know,
Well, how did you turn it?
damn thing.
How did you turn it into such a successful business?
Hard work.
Yeah.
Hard work. Fun and hard work, and just understanding that we're here to serve people. That's our main job.
Janice.
Oh, feet don't fail me now. Let's hear it for Rick and Russ. I want you to give a warm San Jose Jazz welcome to Edgar Quiroz from Kaiser Permanente. Welcome, Mr. Quiroz.
On behalf of Kaiser Permanente, I'd like to welcome you all to the main stage here at the San Jose Jazz Summer Fest. You know, we believe that music is medicine. Music is good for our bodies, our minds, and our spirits.
Yes. She is, of course, a Grammy-nominated jazz R&B songstress. You can give it up for her. Give her some hometown love. Now,
San Francisco! I know it's more than that. Hey, how y'all doing in the back? In the front? Hey, my name is Lacey. How you doing? Hey, yeah. Oh. It's Sunday. You should be grateful we're outside and there's music. I want everybody to have a good time today. Come on. The world turns and the moon fades and the sun begins to shine like the flowers and the trees grow. You're always on my mind, yeah. And I can't feel you all around me, feel you everywhere, yeah. You bring me peace of mind, ooh. You bring joy to my soul, yeah. Everywhere I go, I see you, every night, oh, every second, every hour, till time runs out of time. Hey! Oh, life is too wonderful. I need you in my life. I need feel you all around me, feel you everywhere, yeah. You bring me peace of mind, peace of mind. You bring
today we are continuing our conversation with Dr. Emmett Carson, CEO and President of the Silicon Valley Community Foundation. Thank you for joining us again.
Thank you.
I know that every year you have your regional meeting, and this year the theme is Be an Instrument of Positive Change.
Yes.
And in October, so what can people look forward to?
Well, this is our annual event in which we bring together everyone from the community, donors, concerned citizens, business leaders, elected officials, nonprofit leaders that come together around an issue. And this year we will be focusing and highlighting on how individual donors, particularly several who are part of the Buffett Gates pledge, are using philanthropy to make a difference in our community and around the world. People who are interested should go to our website. It's October 13th. We expect to have over 1,000 people at the Santa Clara Convention Center.
Yes, I remember one year it was former Vice President Al Gore who
Yes.
was the speaker for your 5th anniversary. So who will be the keynote this time?
Well, we will have several, and we will have some names on our website shortly, but we're still confirming some of the families, and I would not want to mention some without being able to mention all.
To get the scoop from it, but anyway, it'll be on the website.
Yep.
As you look back and reflect on your years now with the foundation, what do you consider your most significant contribution?
Wow, that's a hard question. It'll be 8 years in October, believe it or not. Really, it's the team of people that we have here at the foundation today. They've done amazing things. They have taken on very tough community issues with integrity and with heart. And so I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud of the board around the merger and conceiving of putting two community foundations together to have bigger impact. I'm also thrilled with the community receptiveness to the work that we've done. Things like Silicon Valley Gives, the work that we've done to advocate against payday lenders that charge 450% interest, the support we've gotten for the community, from the community on issues around immigration reform throughout the state. So it's the community response and really the team of people that we have here doing the work.
Yes, and certainly we see that people are coming together from all communities to work together, and it seems very much different from what we see in our country. If you challenge, if you look at Congress and the president and things, why do you think it works here, and what are your thoughts about why it seems to be such a challenge in the political arena?
Well, I think the reason why it works here is because we're able to establish what the facts are. We always enter into a project, whether it's education or immigration or payday lending, with a document that outlines the facts. And then we convene people to make sure we got the facts right. And out of that, we're able to then bring a consensus, not a unanimous consensus, but a consensus that if these are the problems, if we've determined why they exist, then you can move with some action to try to fix them. I think the problem with Congress is they never agree on the facts. They start out with the ideology that they hold, and they're never willing to give way to the facts because they hold on to their ideology. We're able to bring people together because we don't start with an ideological perspective. We start with what's the truth, what's the facts, what's causing this, and out of that there becomes some solutions that appear apparent to us and the people that we're able to bring together.
Are you optimistic or pessimistic about the next few years? There's some dire predictions regarding what may happen with the economy and the needs.
Well, I'm very optimistic about our community. Our community led the country out of the recession. Our community is having tremendous economic success in terms of the employment. We've got to manage it actively because there are issues with transportation and housing. So it's not that we don't have issues and deep, serious things to address here, but we both have the resources here and we have the people with the intellectual capability here. So it's about harnessing what we have here. If you look at other communities around the country, they aren't generating the wealth, they aren't creating new businesses, and so they have both a brain drain and a resource drain, which makes it doubly hard for them with an economy that's shrinking. We have a growing economy, more people are moving here. We have the resources and the brain power to figure out any problems in Silicon Valley. We just have to have the will to do it, and that's what the Community Foundation tries to do, is create the community will to address the problems.
Yes, and you're doing that with excellence.
Well,
thank you so much for our time. It's been a
Thank you.
pleasure
Been
to
fun.
come visit you here, and as you mentioned, their information is on our screen and on their website regarding the upcoming Regional Day and so much more that the foundation is doing. So look to the screen for details. We had an opportunity to talk with Gary Crimmett, and there was so much to cover that we didn't get it all in one interview. And one of the things I wanted to ask him about is what's next after Match.com, Clean Power Finance, his dedication to water and clean water being available in so many arenas, but the man who almost never sleeps, I'm sure, has more to come. So what else are you looking
Maybe I need an
forward to
app for scheduling sleep. Oh, I've been thinking about ways of helping the underbanked these days, or the unbanked. These are people, also a social justice issue of don't have bank accounts, or have bank accounts that are very expensive with expensive fees, or don't have access to credit, or have access to high price credit. That's something I'm kind of kicking around in my mind. I've tried something in that space before, and I'd like to kind of continue to think about it.
That's really so important, because especially since the downturn 2008, 2009, a lot of people have never been able to recapture the kind of salaries they had before, and the impact that that has on lives is something that people who may still be doing well are not aware of. But the reason it's important is because there's so many people who are treading water and not able to sustain life anymore.
Or even people who haven't treaded water and want to kind of get back to the surface. I don't know if you know, but in Santa Clara County, this is either #1 or #2 in the state in the number of homeless in the state.
Very well,
and if you spent any time down in, let's say, Center and Story Road and places like the Jungle, how do you get people like who've fallen on misfortunate times to kind of get back? And one of the ingredients not only is having place to live, affordable place to live and work, but is to have access to the financial system.
Yes, very important. Well, I'm glad to know that you'll be working on that. When can we look for something to come from your research and your forays in that area?
Stay tuned. I'm kind of kicking around some ideas now in that area.
What do you do for fun?
Well, I'm a big outdoor person. I do a lot of backpacking and camping and hiking and off-road. I love to spend time in this Eastern Sierras, especially. I try to get out to not just Yosemite, but towns like Bridgeport and Bishop and Independence. California's a very broad state if one just gets beyond the Bay Area.
Yes, that's true. It has so much to offer in so many ways. And if for people who are starting a business, not sure what to do, what 3 main things would you tell them to do to set up for success?
Sure, good question. #1 thing I would say is understand a problem deeply. You know, just because I remember someone came to me and said, I want to start a business, generators for weddings in India. And I'm like, well, have you ever been to India? I'm like, no, but I heard that the generators are noisy there, and if we gave solar power, it'd be cheaper. And I'm like, great. You don't know anything about India, do you? So I think having some first-hand understanding of a problem is a really good. Second is understanding what customers will pay for and actually how to get them to pay, I would say, is #2. And maybe #3 is, if you get this business going up and running, how are you going to, are you going to be able to take money out of it, or are you going to be able to sell the money? Kind of understanding those things. I would say 4, understanding, is this something I enjoy doing?
I had a feeling you were going to add something about enjoying doing it, or how can you give back to others once
that
you're
would be
successful.
#5, yeah. But first, you need to, if you're making some money but you're miserable, what is the point? Is there a point? I don't know.
Well, sometimes for a while, but I think when you talk about holistic living and a life that really speaks to life and enables you to have a vision for doing more, it's important to have joy, because when you're miserable, that's communicated.
When you're miserable, people know.
Yes.
So I think if anyone has what they're doing, they're miserable, they need to come up with a strategy to get out of it.
Absolutely.
Do you know anyone like that?
No.
Okay, good.
No, actually, but seriously, there's so many people who are leading right now lives of quiet desperation, and especially because of the economy. So it's very important to remember that your being and your purpose need to be in alignment, and that's what you're living.
Yes, I mean, I don't want to overdo that. I think I read some commentary recently on, have joy in what you're doing. Sometimes that is kind of an upper class problem. You got to do what you got to do to survive. Let's talk about that first.
Right.
Don't want to quit and you know, you need to be able to handle your needs and the needs
Right.
of your family. So I don't take that to the extreme that a lot of these books do.
Yeah.
So I think there's a balance.
Absolutely. It's a balance. And it's wonderful to talk with you.
The
Thanks so
same,
much.
yay.
And once again, if you'd like to contact Gary, details are on our screen. When we think about the spirit of 45 celebrating the greatest generation, a gentleman that should be known by everyone is a local and international hero. His name is Carl Clark, and on May 3rd, 1945, his life changed forever. Mr. Clark, thank you so much for allowing us to come into your home. Tell us a little bit about what happened that day. You were Chief Petty Officer aboard the Aaron Ward.
My battle station was a station where I was supposed to put out fires, rescue wounded men, and all those kind of things. There were 8 men in my group. And now the ship that I was on had 300 men aboard. We only had 6 black men aboard, and we were aboard to take care of the officers. A group of about 26 planes came in that attacked the 5 ships that we were part of, and they began to fly those planes directly into those ships to try to sink them. The first plane that hit our ship hit directly where these other men were, and they killed all 7 of those men. I was the only man left that was on damage control. Another plane came in, and I'm looking right at the pilot when he came in because I was that close to him, and he crashed. When he crashed, it lifted me up and blew me all the way across the ship to the other side. And it was a slow motion. I went all the way across there, and when I landed, I was so afraid that my legs were gone, and so I stood up first because I didn't want to look down. When I stood up, I said, oh, okay, my legs are still good. So I put my shoes back on, then I ran back across, and I grabbed the fire hose that one of the officers already had going, and I grabbed the nozzle of the fire hose. And so I'm looking, and I see these young sailors there. They're all hiding around there, looking around. And I told this officer, because he had the fire hose, I took it from him, and I'm there with the hose. And somebody came there and helped me with the hose. The big hose is so strong that it can almost lift you up off the deck. So I began to put out the fire. And it wasn't just a fire, because the first plane after it had hit those guns on deck, and all that stuff had to go over the side of the ship. So I put out that fire, and then I stood there with the hose, and pretty soon another plane hit. And within 50 minutes, we took 6 hits from 6 planes.
Oh my goodness.
And I put out every fire. I had that hose, and I put out every fire. I had some help. Sometimes I got a little help, but most of the time I was on that big hose by myself.
That is an incredible story, Mr.
Yes.
Clark. And you saved the ship. And yet, because of racism, you were not mentioned in the reports for
Yes.
many, many years. When were you finally honored for what you did?
I did it all, and nobody gave me thanks for anything. And when they made the battle report, they didn't even put me on the battle report.
That's shocking. It's unbelievable. And so many years later, you were finally honored. When did that honor come, and what did it mean to you to finally be recognized for being the hero that you are?
I had different feelings about the whole thing because of the fact that they made a big deal out of it out there in Moffett Field. Secretary of the Navy and all those people came out here, and they brought the Navy band and congressmen, and there's so many high-ranked people that came out here. I guess they did all they could with the kind of information that they had. But now there are some people now that are still trying to get me the Medal of Honor.
Broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we once were so gallantly streamed.
Spirit of 45 started back in 2007 here at History Park here in San Jose, and it's grown ever since then. In 2010, Congress passed a legislation in support that there ought to be a national day that would honor the World War II generation, not just the veterans, but the folks in the home front, the kids, everybody who was alive at that time. Since then, hundreds of communities across America have taken part in Spirit of 45 celebrations, some big like this one, some small, but communities across America are taking part in keeping the Spirit of 45 alive.
It is my pleasure to introduce to you City Councilman Kansen Chu, who has a very special presentation. Please welcome him.
All right, show you a few words. Thank you everybody for being here and applauding me. It makes me feel proud that all of you are here together and back up those veterans.
Sergeant Gonzalez, what does it mean for you to receive this commendation today?
Oh, it's an honor, and I feel very proud of it. And I'm glad that it was presented to me here where we're honoring the veterans, because we're doing it for them, and it's an honor for me to represent all the veterans of every war.
Let's give a warm Spirit of 45 welcome to the swinging blue stars of the USS Hornet.
Child in wild anticipation, long to hear that all aboard.
Jesse wrote a book here called 5 Months in Hell. Jesse, do you have any more copies with you?
You can see there's so many aspects of celebrating the Spirit of 45, honoring the greatest generation, but also veterans of all ages and eras. It's a wonderful celebration, and the celebration continues throughout the year, celebrating the Spirit of 45, a spirit of service, a spirit of dedication, and a spirit of honor. And that's our show. I'm Janice Edwards. Thank you for putting your signature on our valley, and thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next time.